Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel! Today we'll be repainting a doll using all my gold and silver art supplies. This was requested back when I did all my color challenges a little while ago, so I hope you enjoy. Let's have a look at the supplies. I didn't have a gold or silver watercolor pencil, but I did have a gold acrylic paint and a gold and a silver alcohol ink. I also had some shimmery mica powder, some different glitters, and also some different kind of studs. I'll also be allowing myself a white watercolor pencil to add the whites of the eyes and also highlights, and also a black pencil and a black chalk pastel, and this is to add some definition and detail because otherwise you would not be able to see anything because it would all be reflective. And here's a little swatch test so you can see what we have to work with, and the mica powders just add shimmer and a very small hint of color. Right before we start, I just wanted to show you guys the new sticker sheet I made for my Etsy store. It's with unicorns and crystals, and I also will be adding matte vinyl single stickers on there today. So if that's anything you're into, have a look at my store and the link will be in the info box. For this project, we've been working on this secondhand Monster High doll. And when I decided to do this project, I knew exactly that I wanted to work on this specific doll because she is already like a steampunk robot. And I just thought that would be very fitting for the color scheme. I thought about keeping the original hair since I don't have any hair or yarn in gold or silver, but I decided to cut it off because I wanted her to have short hair and it just doesn't work with the original plastic hair, so I'll be substituting that for black yarn later. After removing the original paint using acetone, giving the face a wash and then priming it with Mr. Super Clear, I started by covering the entirety of the face in silver, and I used mainly the alcohol inks to cover both the face and the body because it goes on very smooth and is pretty much opaque in 1 to 2 coats. Rather than when I've painted entire dolls with acrylic paint previously, I have to do a lot of layers, so the alcohol ink is very good for that. I feel I should add a word of caution here. As you can see, I'm working on the head separate from the body, which is how I prefer to work, so I can twist and turn it and see all the angles better than if it had still been attached to the body. But I have previously painted the entire face with acrylic paint and then sealed it, added onto the body with no issues at all. However, I did have issues with the ink because even though I had primed and sealed it, it still cracked a little bit because you have to add a bit of pressure to the face and squish it just a tiny bit to get it back on the peg that is at the end of the doll's neck. And it did crack a little bit by the right eye and also a little bit on the right cheek. And unfortunately, I couldn't fix it at that point, so I just had to deal with it, and it just added to the slightly steampunk withered look, so it's okay. I just wanted to point that out to you guys so you know that if you do want to paint a doll mainly with alcohol ink, I would suggest you leave the head on the body so you don't have this issue, and also be aware that you don't pose this doll that much. It's better to have it as a figurine. My approach to this was that I just wanted to use and utilize the sculpt of the doll because this doll actually had a lot of detail to it with like the bolts on the face and the body and the different like plates coming together. So I really wanted to enhance that and just make it look like my take on a steampunk robot. And with the face, I chose to make it primarily silver because it's the lighter of the two. And I quickly decided that I wanted one eye to be blank, and then I decided that after I was done with the repaint portion, I would glue glitter there to make it look like, you know, one of her eye plates had fallen off and you could see into like her power core or something, and that would be this holographic silver glitter. I just thought that would be really cool. And I later decided to add some shapes on her forehead to be these almost sort of vents into this core. I try to utilize and bring in all of my different materials, so I use the acrylic gold paint for the eyelids just for different tone, and I use the gold mica powder on the cheeks and the eyelids just to add a bit of, you know, gold tint and shimmer to the silver just to warm it up a little bit. And I also mixed in a bit of water to paint the iris of the eye with the gold, just again because it was a slightly different gold and it added a bit of shimmer. I struggled a bit with the lips because since the face was all silver, I thought, well, then they have to be gold. And that didn't really look right. Then I tried with the gold mica powder. That didn't really look good either. And I thought maybe I should outline them in black and make it really bold. That didn't work. Then I painted the entire bottom lip black. And then I just gave up because it just did not look good at all. So I ended up just blocking it all out with more of the silver ink. And then ended up just shading it. And that just looks so much better to me. I used the watercolor effect of my white pencil to block in the whites of the eyes, and also used the same effect of the black in order to really outline the eyes and the lash line and stuff like that, just to really bring some definition and also have some dark matte areas just to, you know, contradict the very shimmery and reflective surfaces of the metallic piece. Otherwise you just wouldn't be able to see anything. Having the black chalk pastel to shade really helped bring out the features, and I shaded both the iris and the eye whites, and also around the face where I might usually shade, like the corner of the eye, nose bridge, temple, hollows of the cheek, just everything to kind of bring out a little more shape. At first I wasn't really sure if I wanted her to have eyebrows or not, but then I decided to do them in white, which doesn't really make sense since she'll be getting black hair, but I just felt it'd make her look really otherworldly, so therefore I gave her white bottom lashes as well. I decided to reuse this blue plastic knitted skirt thing the doll came with, just because again it was a little futuristic almost, so I painted that with silver and then glued on silver glitter. Now onto the body. As I mentioned, I really wanted to utilize the awesome sculpt that it has. So after priming it, I painted the different sections, and I also mixed together the gold and silver ink to create more of almost like a rose gold shade to be a good in-between between the two. Fun fact, one of the favorite dolls I've ever repainted was probably my cyborg, which I did on an LED doll. Again, a robot, and it just has a really awesome sculpt. I went in with some watered down black on the lines in between each of the metal plates, just to bring them out. After sealing the body in with Mr. Super Clear, I glued on holographic silver glitter to the plate that symbolized her heart, again thinking this was kind of like her, power core showing through. And I also added some stud details to some of the screws on her one arm, and I added some gold glitter to some of the plates, one being on her other arm and one being on the leg, again for a bit of texture and added detail. I also glued on some smaller gold studs on the plates very close to her heart, again to add a bit of detail and texture. Now we can add the final details to the face, being the glitter in the inside of the eye and also on the shapes on the forehead. Once I had that on, I also added black 3-dimensional eyelashes to her upper lashes, because that is just basically part of my process and my style. And I also glazed the eyes and also the shapes on the forehead. Then I glued some faceted studs to her ears for earrings, and also some of the same smaller studs to the stud details she already had on her forehead. And here you can see I've put the head back on the body and the cracking has happened. It didn't really bother me because it just looked like she was a little worn and maybe needed a new faceplate. But I couldn't really fix it either way, because if I added silver on, it would just look too shiny compared to everything else, and I wouldn't be able to seal now with everything else on there. So sometimes you just have to accept defeat and learn from it. So then I added on the hair and then she's done. I really hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. I actually really liked the doll, how it turned out. And if you guys have any other requests for other videos you'd like to see me make, do leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in a new one real soon. Bye!